What's up, guys? Today we're comparing the iPhone 12 mini with the slightly older Galaxy S10e. Both of these phones are two excellent phones for a compact user, but let's go ahead and see which one is going to be best for you. So you can pick the iPhone 12 mini up. They're going for around $600 to $650. I'll put the link down below. The S10e, brand new, it'll cost you around 400 bucks, but a refurbished version on Amazon is actually around 250 now to 300. So this phone got a huge price slash, and it still retains very high quality in terms of price to spec ratio. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with the hardware, because both phones are actually very good looking phones. They both have a premium glass and metal design, and they're both actually IP68 dust and water resistant. Both have the dual camera setup, and as far as height, the iPhone is definitely a little bit smaller than the S10e for sure here. They seem to be about the same thickness as well. And as far as button layout, you have your power button on the mini, volume rockers, mute vibration switch, and then your charging port. And then on the S10e, we have our power button slash fingerprint scanner. And then we have our Bixby button and then the volume rockers. This phone actually has a headphone jack. The iPhone does not. And you also has USB Type-C. And both phones also have stereo speakers on them as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about display quality. So on the iPhone, you have an XDR OLED display, is what Apple calls it, and then it's HDR10 at 5.4 inches. It's also 1080p, 476 for the PPI. On the S10e here, we're rocking the dynamic AMOLED display, HDR10 plus, 1080p, 438 for the PPI. So basically, pretty much the same resolution and PPI. You won't really notice a difference in terms of sharpness on these displays. They both look really good. But one of the things that you will notice with the S10e's display is that it definitely looks a little bit more vibrant on here. So that is one of the things I noticed off the bat. It's just a super colorful display that Samsung has on here. The colors and everything just really pop on this display. Also, the next thing you'll notice is obviously the notches on the two. You have the punch hole, which I prefer over the sort of bigger notch that houses the Face ID on the iPhone. So like I've always said, with this mini phone, they really should have put Touch ID in the power button and really just got rid of that notch altogether. I think the experience as far as using the phone would be 100% better. As far as display quality, me personally, I would go with the S10e. I just think it's a more enjoyable experience because you don't have such an intrusive notch on here. I think the punch hole does a really good job of staying out of the way. So on the S10e, you have Android 11 with the One UI software, Snapdragon 855 and Adreno 640, micro SD support, 128 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM. You also have on the iPhone, you have iOS 14 on here, and you also have the Apple A14 chip, no SD card support, 64 gigs of internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM. So right off the bat, you're getting more storage on the S10e, and you also are getting headphone jack as well on both base models, which is pretty interesting. Now, as far as pure processing speed, the S10e is an older flagship, so the iPhone is definitely going to be a little bit faster, but let's go ahead and see how it does with a real world test, because of course it's going to be faster than benchmarks, but let's see. Looks like the S10e actually got it there hilariously. Earth. Pretty much a tie here. So as you can see, even though it's an older flagship, it's still going to perform really well in real day-to-day use here. Now I think for games, the iPhone is just crazy fast. Yeah. Oh man, this has crashed. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with my Temple Run application. Let's try Subway Surf. As you can see, so the iPhone is going to be slightly faster when you're jumping into games and stuff like that. But as far as just your casual applications, you're not going to see a huge difference with speed quality on here, which is really impressive on the S10e's part. And the S10e actually will beat the iPhone it looks like in sort of like the casual applications, which is pretty interesting. So both of these phones are actually really great for gaming as well. That is one thing to note too. So you can definitely do some gaming on both of these phones if you're trying to game on a more compact phone experience. But just know both of these phones are blazing fast, and you can definitely play PUBG, Call of Duty Mobile, no problem on both of these phones. Now when we actually hop into PUBG, I want to see, do we get a big graphics difference here? So we can go up to HD, Ultra HD, we have Extreme FPS. Yeah, so we have pretty much the same graphic settings. They both can go Ultra HD, Extreme frame rates, and they both look excellent. It really comes down to display quality, which display you think looks better. But I do see like the difference in color, again, like I was pointing out. But both, like I said, are very nice gaming phones. So if that's something you want to do, this definitely can do that. So I've never heard each speaker side by side here, so I wonder which one sounds better. Let's go ahead and max the volume. Start with the S10e. Both of these phones are about the same in terms of loudness, but the speakers are sort of tuned completely different. So that's the one thing I've noticed. There's more emphasis on mids on the S10e, and there's a ton of emphasis on the bass, but you get it's kind of like a flatter sound on the 12 mini. But it does have like a much like boomier bass kind of. But the mids and everything on the S10e sounds super crisp. But as far as loudness, they pretty much both sound the same. Yeah, because I don't like the way the hi-hats sound on the 12 mini, but I do like the way the bass sounds. But I love the way the hi-hats. Yeah, so that 100% is, you have to hear them side by side and kind of figure out which one you like. But as far as like sound quality, they're not distorting, they sound great. It just depends on your sort of taste and how both speakers are tuned. Both of these phones have NFC as well, so you have your Apple Pay and then NFC on the S10e. The S10e also has a wireless power sharing mode as well, so if I wanted to charge like the mini on this phone, I would be able to do that. Just put it on the back and then boom, I could charge up this phone. The iPhone does not have anything like that. And you also have Samsung desktop support as well on the S10e. So one of the things I wanted to mention was the MagSafe capability on the 12 mini, which is okay from what I've seen. I've never actually picked one up because I really never thought I'd use it, but you do have that, which is kind of neat to most people. And also the fingerprint scanner versus Face ID. So, or let's just talk about getting into the phone. You have this method on the S10e, your fingerprint scanner physical, and then you have face unlock as well on the S10e. Now, it might not be as secure as you know, Face ID on the iPhone, but the iPhone only gives you that one option. You don't have a Touch ID option. So, like in today's world where you have to pull down the mask, doing that on the iPhone can get annoying. On the S10e, you got your fingerprint sensor. So I like having more options as far as getting into my device. Now, as far as image quality, I'll give it to the iPhone. It does take better pictures than the S10e. I think if this was like, if they made like a Galaxy S20e, it would be more on point here, or 21. Because I have the S20 FE, and it takes very close pictures to the iPhone 12 mini. This one, it takes excellent photos, but just not as good. As you can see, the 12 mini takes some really great photos, guys. You have a 12 megapixel lens and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide. You get really great looking video, excellent video on the iPhone 12 mini, 4K video, and then you have a 12 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K also. So it can be really good if you want to start a YouTube channel, vlogging or whatever. And on the S10e, you have a 12 megapixel standard and then a 16 megapixel ultra wide. You also get 4K video, 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K. And as you can see from the S10e's pictures, the biggest difference that I noticed with both pictures is that the iPhone 12 mini will capture more detail, and also the color is actually more accurate on the iPhone as well. The S10e sometimes seems to make everything super colorful and bright, and Samsung fixed that with their newer phones, but that's still apparent with the S10e. But yeah, as far as image quality, for the huge price difference that you're paying, the S10e is super capable of taking excellent photos still, and it doesn't do as good in lower light as the iPhone. So if you want to spend that extra money, the big difference with both of these phones is probably the camera only. I think the S10e just does a better job overall everywhere else, honestly, especially for the speed, the gaming performance. But yeah, so cameras, I will give it to the iPhone there. Now, as far as battery life, so you have a 2,227 milliamp battery on the iPhone, 20 watt fast charging, and like I said, you have wireless charging as well. And then on the S10e, you have a 3,100 milliamp battery, 15 watt fast charging, and then wireless charging and the reverse wireless charging. I'm gonna be honest, battery life on both of these phones is not super impressive. You average around maybe 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. Honestly, they both feel like they die around the same time. So you can get through a full day's use with both of these phones if you're a light user. I was able to, but if you're somebody that's playing games and stuff like that and just doing more, intensive stuff on your phone, then these phones, that's the kind of price you pay for a smaller package. So that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.